Oh my gosh, Self-Care University. Okay, y'all, we have Hulai. I'm so happy that you're here. You're a dietitian from Oklahoma, and you and I have met before. And we've met a couple of times, even in
Hmm.
person. And so that's really nice. So
Hmm.
you all are in for a really big treat. So I'm going to go ahead and let her um, take over. And I just know that listen, ask questions in the end, and if you can, just keep your um, computer muted until it's time for asking questions. All right, Hulai, take over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Connie. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to give a little bit of my knowledge to your amazing clientele. So, hi everyone, and welcome. I am Hulai Matuba, and I'm a registered dietitian with a degree in biochemistry and master's in nutrition. I have spent nearly a decade helping women just like you navigate the physical and emotional shift when we enter our 30s, 40s, and 50s. Personally, when I was 30 years old, I was working at a hospital, working for long hours, and started experiencing my body change, meaning weight gain. I gained about 40 pounds and I was fatigued. I was even hospitalized due to heart stress because it was a very stressful job. I learned firsthand that it is very frustrating to lose weight. And even if you're doing everything right, and sometimes things do feel off at times. So this webinar is here to explain to you how you can put the dots together when it comes to nutrition, hormone, wellness, so that way you can empower yourself and not be confused. Next slide. All right. So let's acknowledge one thing. Our bodies is not broken or are not broken. We are basically evolving. From our 30s onward, women begin to experience really small changes in our hormones, which impact nearly every system in our body, from our metabolism to our mood to our stress level. In our early 30s, estrogen and progesterone begin to slow down naturally. You may notice like your period is regular, but behind the scene, your hormone production is gradually changing. You may notice that the weight gain is happening in some areas that you've never noticed before. And you may have noticed that you're not recovering very well when it comes to staying up late or when you have a really high stress job. By our 40s now, your hormone levels start to be erratic. Basically, one time you'll be having your period, and next time you wouldn't. You might also notice that you got brain fog, irritability, and stubborn belly fat that won't seem to budge. This is the decade for it. Now, in our 50s, we may reach menopause, which is defined by not having your period for 12 months. And estrogen is significantly decreased, which leads to bone issues, heart health, metabolism issues, and loss of muscle mass. But I want you to understand that all these changes within the decade is not that it is our fault. It's just that our body need a different type of nutrition. And you're not losing your metabolism, you're just adapting to a new one. So when you know how your body works, you may be more in tune and you will know how to manipulate it and fix it to your own liking and get the result that you want. Throughout this webinar, we'll go in deeply into changes that affect your nutritional needs, such as your energy and how you can support yourself every season. Next slide. So now we're going to see what happened with each decade. In our 30s. So in our 30s, our metabolism start to slow down. Not drastically, but just enough that you notice what worked in your 20s is no longer working. You might also notice that whenever you used to go out in your 20s, you can't do it anymore in your 30s because you don't have that energy anymore, or your stress level is high and you're not able to manage it as well as you used to. Estrogen and progesterone decline Gradually, this leads to irregular sleep patterns, mood changes, and you may also notice that your menstruation have newer symptoms that you may not have noticed before, such as constipation or migraine. And this is also the decade for cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and that stress hormone plays a huge part in the way our body is shaped, such as noticing weight gain in our midsection. And this is probably due to us trying to juggle our careers, our kids, and family. And even though you might be eating the same and moving your body the same, you may notice that the weight gain is slowly coming up. And this is especially more noticeable in our midsection. This is a signal that your body needs different type of nutrients, especially like protein and rest and consistent blood sugar management. That's your 30s. In your 40s, you may be into perimenopause, where hormones feel like a roller coaster. Some months you may have your period, while others you may be missing them. Estrogen may spike 1 month and then just plummet the next month. So this causes mood swing, hot flashes, poor sleep, and increasing cravings. So your body may also start developing insulin resistance. What this means is your blood sugar may spike more so compared to when you were in your 30s or in your 20s. This means that your body needs different type of nutrition. For example, protein, high fibrous food, and some healthy fats. And you may also start to lose muscle mass. This is really important decade for you to start doing resistance training. This impact, if you don't have good muscle mass, it will impact your metabolism, your energy, and your joint support. Even a few short workout, like 2 to 3 times per week for like 20 minutes of weight training can make a huge difference. In your 50s, menopause have probably mostly appeared, which means that you haven't had your period in 12 months. Estrogen and progesterone are much more lower. This affects your bone density, it affects your heart health, and your ability to maintain your muscle mass. You may feel more fatigue and you have more stubborn belly fat, and you find that your skin and your joint are not the same due to elasticity issue. Sleep disturbances are much more noticeable. That's due to probably low melatonin and hormone imbalance. This is the time for you to really lay down the foundation of your nutrition. This is why high quality protein is needed, where you have omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, vitamin D, and then great probiotics. Movement become more of energy needing, longevity, and strength, not about punishment. So the most important thing for you to remember here is that the changes are not your fault, as I said before. It's just that your body needs something different. And the signaling that you're getting in your different decades is it is a signal that you need something different. So now we're going to talk about, oh, next slide, um, the top nutritional lacking that I notice in women. One of the most common thing that I see in women that I work with ages 30 to 50 is that they have brain fogs and they have fatigue and they have bloating issues. And when I look closer to it, it's not just hormone, it's because also they're missing some nutrition. So even when you're eating a healthy diet, when you don't have good sleep or managing stress, hormonal shift can increase or deplete some nutritional needs that you have. And at the same time, also sometimes your nutrients doesn't get absorbed due to all the hormonal shift, especially when estrogen get messed with. So let's go into the deficiencies that you can see in this age group. Next slide. Magnesium. Magnesium is essential for almost 300 processes in the body. It helps calm down the nervous system, it helps ease muscle tension, and it helps support bowel movement. It has also helped with PMS and also perimenopausal systems such as sleep disturbances whenever you are on perimenopause and also anxiety. Many women do not get enough magnesium, especially if you drink a lot of caffeine, magnesium get depleted. If you're chronically stressed, magnesium get depleted. And if you don't eat enough leafy green vegetables, nuts, or legumes, which is where you find magnesium. Iron. Iron is crucial for energy and focus. So women in our 30s and 40s, we are still usually menstruating, which means that sometimes we may lose iron, especially when you start having heavier periods or your energy feels really low and you are like depleted. So iron deficiency can happen even if sometimes your lab work says you're normal. So good sources of iron will be red meat, lentils, pumpkin seed, iron fortified foods, and always make sure that whenever you eat iron from a plant base, you have some vitamin C with it to help absorb that iron, which is like strawberry or what's that thing called? Broccoli. Vitamin D. Vitamin D isn't just about bone. It is also for mood. It is also for immune health, hormonal balance. Many women, especially dark-skinned women like myself, because of our melanin, we are unable to absorb vitamin D from the sun very well. And also women of a lot of weight, like obese women, have difficulty absorbing the vitamin D in the skin due to the fat that block the cholesterol from being converted to vitamin D. And also being limited going outside, taking some time off to just hit the sun can cause deficiency. So low levels are linked to fatigue, muscle cramping, and even belly fat. I often recommend before you start taking all these fat soluble vitamins, please get your labs checked because you may get some toxicity if you don't need vitamin D. Vitamin B12. B12 is energy, brain function, and red blood cell production. If you are somebody that's taking metformin or birth control, or even if you're vegetarian or vegan, you may not get enough vitamin B12, which puts you at risk for low vitamin B12. So vitamin B12 foods are going to be meats, eggs, fortified cereal, or you can do supplements. Omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 help reduce inflammation, brain health, and it also ease hormonal transition. Many women don't eat enough fatty fishes, such as salmon, sardines, and mackerel to meet their needs. So if you're somebody that you don't normally like fish, you can also get it from a supplement. Make sure you get a high quality fish oil, or you get an algae oil if you're a vegetarian. So these nutrients are to support your health and your ability to just show up and be energized, clear-headed, and emotionally balanced. Up next, we're going to be talking about supplementing smartly because sometimes food is not enough during our transition in all these different decades. Next slide. So supplementing smartly. So let's talk about supplement. First and foremost, I want to make this very clear. You cannot eat your way to supplements. Supplement is not a replacement for food, but it is a powerful tool that you can use strategically whenever you are in this hormonal transition. So with stress, aging, digestion issue, medication use, many women don't get the absorption of nutrient that we need. So we need a targeted supplements that bridge the gap between supplements and food. So look for quality supplements. Always check for supplements that are third-party tested, such as the NSF or USP or lab, the consumer lab. They usually verify what's in the supplements, such as like if you go on Amazon, you don't really know what you get sometimes. So they usually verify what's in the supplement. Avoid taking supplements that have a lot of dyes, added sugar, and unnecessary filler. And be aware of marketing. So you don't need to have everything that's out there, okay? So multivitamin versus targeted supplement. A good vitamin supplement can be broad, but for many women, we need specific targeted supplement. That might mean like magnesium for sleeping, omega-3 for your bone and heart health, or you need iron for your energy. So you don't have to have a drawer full of supplement or pills. Just focus more on things that are specific to what you are missing in your diet. All right. And make sure when you're taking a supplement, it's much more about consistency and all these fat soluble vitamins that are out there. Please make sure you check them and make sure your lab said that you're needing them in your diet. So remember, the goal isn't to take everything. It's to take the right thing for your body based on the symptoms, lifestyle, and testing, which leads perfectly into our next topic. Next slide. Hormone testing and what, why, and how. So how do you know what's going on in your body? This is where testing comes in and gives more clarity. So you don't have to guess. Hormone testing can validate where you're missing and helping your nutritional guide. Okay, so here's one of the labs that I recommend. Other people may have others that I recommend to my patients whenever they come in to go get it tested. So number one, estrogen, which is estradiol, is the active form of estrogen. You have progesterone, which is for your mood, your sleep, and your menstrual regularity. And then you have FSH and LH, which is there to tell you if you're perimenopause or menopause. Then you have testosterone, which is for libido, mood, and lean muscle mass. And yes, women have testosterone. And then your thyroid function. This is really important because thyroid can affect your weight because it affects the thermoregulation of your body. And then you have cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and it's really beneficial if you test it in the morning. And insulin. We usually we have more insulin resistance as we go through perimenopause and menopause because of the reduction of estrogen. And these are the labs that I recommend. You can always get this lab tested from your PCP or your OB/GYN. You may have to advocate for yourself. And this is why I tell my client to know why you are getting the lab tested so that way you can ask your doctor or your OB/GYN to say, I need this lab, and they ask you why, and then you can tell them. So let's go over functional versus traditional testing. So traditional doctors usually rely on basic panel. They'll be like, oh, your lab is within normal, even though you are feeling off. You're like, I don't feel normal. So functional lab then can be something that you can go deeper into. This is like testing your saliva or testing your urine. So sometimes insurance doesn't cover it, but it may be something that you can get to get extra information. Whether you are testing your lab through your doctor or functional lab, the goal is for you to get the full picture so that way you'll be able to make decisions based on the real data, not just assumptions. So what do you do with this result? If you're feeling off, you have options. So women can sometimes go through or try hormone replacement therapy, or some people use herbs, and some people go through the nutritional realm, or some people go through the supplement realm. Testing helps you get the guesswork out of things and ensure that you're looking at all the function, especially if you have thyroid issues or insulin resistance, where you'll be able to have a plan based on the data that you have. All right. So now, how do we put this all together? Next slides, please. Now that we've explored all the changes in all the decades, let's start with, and we've already talked about supplements smartly. Let's talk about how to put everything in place when it comes to nutrition. Number one, I say start with a balanced plate. What I mean by that is start with basic. Aim for a meal that has protein in it, whether it can be fish, chicken, beans, anything on it that's protein, and then do your fiber and do your healthy fats. This keeps blood sugar stable, reduce cravings, and support hormone production. So an example would be like a sauteed green beans with eggs and some avocado. Another example would be like a salmon with like roasted vegetables. Whenever you're starting, keep things really basic. Keep it simple. Keep it things that are satisfying, especially in your life. Make sure that is not tedious, such as looking at recipes on Instagram where you figure like, hey, I have to make this. Make it the simplest and easiest, and you're more likely to adapt it. Next is hydration. Hydration worsens fatigue and headache and bloating. So Aim for 64 ounces of water daily. If you are somebody that's active, you need more than that. And you also need to add electrolyte. I always usually recommend electrolyte, especially during the summer, because we sweat so much and we deplete some of our electrolytes. So I would say add electrolytes, or you can start eating some fruits. Fruit has a lot of water content in it, like watermelon, pineapple, apple, if you want to increase your water content. Move your body gently but often. So this is not about punishment. When we're in this transitional stages of our 30s, 40s, and 50s, movement support our lymphatic system, our mood, and our metabolism. Start with doing strength training. I recommend every woman ages 30 and over to do strength training at least 2 to 3 times a week. That will help preserve muscle mass as well as the decline, as estrogen decline, which will also help with that. So you can also do walking, you can do yoga, you can do dancing, do those other things that you find that you enjoy, but please do add some strength training to your exercise regimen. You can also start with like body weight workout. You don't have to start doing weights right away, such as squats, wall sits. Those are the different type of body weight workouts. Okay, so next we're going to talk about sleep. Sleeping is when the body starts to reset. We need 7 to 9 hours, not like the typical 8 hours. Women need more than men when it comes to sleep. And this creates, we need to start creating really calm, resting environment. That means reducing the screen time. It means dimming the light, and maybe taking your magnesium pill or get some herbal tea, sip on it, and get yourself ready to just go into the zone of sleeping and calming yourself. So remember, poor sleep equates to high cortisol level and high insulin, which means your body has a harder time to lose the weight. All right? Nourishment for your mental and emotional health. So mental health, I heard this before, mental health is physical stress. No, mental stress is physical stress. It drains your nutrition, it depletes your hormone or disturb your hormones, and it triggers emotional eating. When people are stressed, sometimes food is a coping mechanism, so they eat more than their body's needing. So doing some groundwork like journaling, breathing, dancing, and going outside for like 10 minutes, just go for like a walk. That would help reduce some of the stress. So what to track? I don't have people track calories. Do not track that. Track more of your symptoms, what you notice about them, when they occurred, what food you navigate towards, how is your energy. So when you learn those patterns, you're able to connect the dot, especially like if you're going through your luteal phase versus your what's it called, your follicular phase, your different phases in your period. You get to learn the type of foods that you crave towards your luteal phase. That's when we want to eat more. That's when insulin is a little bit crazy for us, and we get to eat as much as we want to eat, even though it's not what our body needs. We eat excessively during our luteal phase. So learning that behavior, you'll be able to tell your providers all your patterns that you're aware of, and they may use that data plus your lab work to get a better understanding of what's really going on with you. So at the end of the day, it is always about communication. So when you respond with intention instead of restriction, you build trust with yourself. That's begin with healing. So let's wrap this up. I know I've talked a lot. Let me see if we have any questions. And I really appreciate you guys listening to me, and hopefully it's helped you guys out. And I appreciate Connie and Self Care University for having me. Thank you. All right, let's look at the questions.
If anybody has any questions, they are more than welcome to ask them. But these were some that were um, a focus, so I will put them in the chat. But if anybody wants to unmute, um, just know that this is recorded. You're welcome to leave your camera off if you have any questions. But these were some of the questions.
Can you share the most common nutrition mistake women in their 30s and 40s and 50s make that contribute to fatigue? Oh, I think whatever people go through their changes between their 30s and 40s and 50s is that they continue eating the same And when they eat the same, the body's processes and symptoms are not the same. So, like, as we age, we have estrogen. Estrogen and insulin are really linked together. And when we eat like carbohydrates, we're not meant to eat heavier carbohydrate throughout our lives. Carbohydrate is energy. So whenever you have energy, like in your youth, you can eat whatever you want. The body just use it amazingly. And then when you go to your 30s, your body doesn't need it as much anymore. So whenever you eat that carbohydrate, you're going to get more tired. So you're like your body's like, hey, I'm depleted. I don't need this much energy. So what do? I'm going to store it. So that's one of the things that I notice people don't change is that their eating pattern just consistently like the same throughout. So managing it through each phase, realizing as we're getting older, we're going to be losing muscle mass. So we need that protein, we need that good carbohydrate in our diet. And the next question that we have, how do our energy and nutrients needs shift from decade to decade? And what should we focus on during each stage? In the beginning, like in your 30s, in our 30s, the need for excessive carbohydrate intake starts to decline. We don't need it as much. So the next thing that comes in is fiber, because as estrogen start to decline, our body's internal organ tends to start slowing down, which means we need more fiber in our diet. We need more protein in our diet, and we need more meats that are not really excessive for the body to break down, like the fish. So whenever we don't have those nutrients, our body's like, I cannot do this, so I'm going to make more fat cells. Like the body's just like a storage unit. It's like, if I can't do it, I'm going to keep it to the side. So the shift that I feel like people need to make each time is to figure out what are the symptoms, when do they happen, especially like during the luteal phase. I feel like people get a lot more information in that phase that tells them about their cravings. Some people eat a lot of chocolate, some people like the carbo load. It's like, what is causing that they need to just start maneuvering and manipulating and also getting your lab tested. Some people go through menopause and perimenopause earlier than a lot of people. I feel like we're getting a lot more research now because a lot of people are interested in this topic. So women are getting more research on as far as what changes are women really going through. And some people even starting like in their late 20s. Like they start going through perimenopause, and some like women get like people in the late 20s, they have white hair. They start graying already because the stress level is so much more higher now. All right. Hopefully I answered that question.
I'd like
Yeah.
to ask a question if that'd be okay.
Yes,
Thank you
absolutely.
so much for that valuable information. I had to help some customers, but I was listening the whole time.
I'm
And I'm
sorry.
just wondering, have you explored the connection between nutrient declines that you're seeing in women and the underlying parasitic and pathogenic infections? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that link.
Okay. I have not really heard more about parasite in the abdomen. What I have noticed is that people in as we transition, we need more probiotic than most other people like realize. I think nearly 95% of people like they need vitamin D. They need more probiotic because I feel like most of the foods nowadays, especially like artificial sweetener, it tore up those gut bacteria like really bad. And the good bacteria that we need are no longer there. So they start having more issues as they're getting older because we don't have those nutrients being killed by all this because they compete for protein bonding. That's a different artificial sweetener. Like especially, I think it is saccharin. I forgot the name of it. It competes with the bacteria where they basically try to figure out how many of us are there. If the bacteria doesn't see like there's a lot of them, they're going to decline their population, which is not good for our gut macrobe. But as far as for the parasite, I have not, but I would love to look into that to learn more about that.
Yeah, and I'd love to give you more guidance or more information on that. That's what my husband and I kind of focus on is parasitic infections that really we're seeing are leading to a lot of these nutrient depletions. And as you mentioned, periods, we're seeing girls at 8 years old starting their periods and
Mm,
then they're bacterially and parasitically infected. And so it's a scary state of our health system out there right now. And just so many people are uh, are experiencing these infections and not understanding how to fix them naturally or how to stop them from reoccurring. And so I'd love to talk to you sometime
Oh
about
yes, absolutely. I'm a research lady. I love reading research papers. I will
that.
read
Mhm.
it like it's what I get my joy from.
Yeah,
Um,
better stop learning.
yeah, because I am very, I was very triggered when I gained that 40 pounds in my 30s. And I'm like, I'm a dietitian. What are you talking about? Gain weight. So it's like it was a slap in the face. And I realized how I think our environment, even from now to like in the past, in our 40s and in the 1930s, I feel like the food has changed so much, and so does
Yeah.
our environment, and then so does our like distraction. So it's like we have a really high stress life,
Yes.
even though we have like everything that helps us out. So, and the food, don't get me like, I kid you not, one of my patients I was talking to him, like he was asking what foods have artificial sweetener. I'm like, you do not want to know. Like your toothpaste, your gums that you chew. Like it is amazing. It's like I'm like, how are people going to get really good gut bacteria when you have all these things that you may not think about? You may think the sodas, so I'm going to limit my sodas, but what about all this other stuff that have it? Even in your
Yeah.
pastas, like it's like the pasta sauce. It's like, how are we going to go through this and be able to be healthy, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And food is a problem for us because, we're all addicted to food. It's
Mm-hmm.
pleasure. I love food. I intermittent fast every single day. And so
Mm-hmm.
that one meal a day that I get to, that is pleasure. That's an experience. I spend 2 hours cooking it and then I
There you
spend
go.
5 minutes eating it. So it's like,
That
but
is
food is fun.
amazing. Yeah, it is. And I wish that people get more time with it. And I feel like it's the most, what is it called? It's the most thing that we do most often. 3 times a day, we expect people to eat. And oh, somebody has put a thing, say what probiotic would they recommend? Probiotic. So let me hit on that. Probiotic, you need to know what microbe is going to be doing for the body. You can't just have, so if you're somebody that has constipation, we have a particular microbe that will work for that problem. So you cannot just take a probiotic. So you got to say, what do I need? What probiotic? And when you find this probiotic, they need to have the genus name. It needs to be more than 1 billion microbes in there, and also they have to have the species on there. So if they have those three on there, I wish I can show you guys how it is. If they have those three on there, then it's a good probiotic. Don't be fooled by good, yeah, like billion or more. That means it is a good microbe because you need that many microbe in your gut bacteria to be able to be substantial. If it's less than that and they don't tell you specifically like a lactobacillus or lacto aureus, like they would tell you the name of the bacteria and the bacteria's job. So you need to know the job of it. So I can't really give a specific because I don't know what you really need in order for you to get the microbiome to work the way you want it to work. So they have from like GI issue, they have things for like colitis, they have like so many different microbes. That's my take on it.
My favorite is that there is testing where it can actually determine which one it is so that you can actually target the problem
Yeah.
instead of making it worse. And sometimes taking a probiotic, you may think that you're diarrhea, but it's actually the detox part.
Yes, yes. So you need to know specifically what probiotics that you're taking. Another one question is that can you speak on the role of protein in supporting, especially for women in perimenopause? Okay, so this is a really good question. So whenever you go into perimenopause, what happens is when estrogen go down, you're going to have insulin resistance, which means the body has a hard time processing carbohydrates. So when the body has a hard time processing carbohydrate, the body is going to shoot up more insulin. Say, hey, I need you to digest this food. I need you to digest this food. And the more the body push out insulin, it doesn't have a pool of insulin. It's making it. It's not going to have enough. So if it doesn't have enough, you're going to start running out, which is where insulin resistance start happening, which then if you're not taking care of, then diabetes prolong. So what women need to do is they need to switch their diet. They need to do more protein, carbohydrates, meaning from carbohydrate meaning from vegetables, and then non-starchy vegetables like your leafy green, your asparagus and stuff like that. So 50% of your plate needs to be non-starchy vegetables. What I mean by starchy, peas are starchy vegetables. Corn is a little starchy. Potato is starchy. So what you need to have is non-starchy vegetable with 50%. Protein needs to be 25% of your plate, and then you can have that starch. So as we go through these phases, our body does not process carbohydrate as effectively as it did in our 20s and our teens. So we need to switch that and be able to have more protein. And women need to have actually the way you calculate it is your weight, you divide by 2.2, that will give you in kilograms, and you need to have 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. Kilogram, not pounds. That's how it's shifted. And then as you get older, you need a little bit more. Okay? The next question is, are there any foods or habits that women think are healthy but might actually make them more fatigued? Okay, one of the big things that I see is eating heavier in the evening. Like your heaviest meal should be like breakfast or lunch. So if you eat excessively when the body cannot process that food, it's going to get tired. It wants you to sleep so that way you can process the food. And another thing that I noticed that women get fatigued about is getting their hormones checked. Like we need testosterone, we need estrogen, we need progesterone, but you need to get those checked for you to determine which one you're lacking. Not everybody is the same. Like Connie does draw labs, and she is amazing. So you can meet with her and then said, hey, I need to get some lab drawn, and then therefore you should be able to interpret it with you and then said, this is what I think you need. And then also she does some supplementation, which she can give you safe supplementation recommendation that are tested. So the mistake that I see women do is they do not get their lab drawn. I always talk to women, have you gotten your lab drawn to see what's going on, especially in your 30s. Like when you get in your 30s, that's when you need to start to say, hey, what's going on with my hormones? Because I have some colleagues that I know that cannot have kids because they didn't realize their hormones were like dropping even prior. So getting those tested, and your body is speaking to you, you guys, like your body tells you exactly what's going on. It's whether we want to listen or not. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes is not getting your lab drawn. And if your doctor doesn't want to do it, go find somebody. Go get another doctor. That's what I recommend. Okay, so the next question is, for busy women who don't have time to cook every single day, what are the top 2 to 3 tips to fuel your body? Oh, my favorite thing is this. If you don't have time during the day, make your meal snacks. I say, get yourself some cheese sticks, popcorn, boiled egg, put it in a bag, eat it as you're driving if you're busy. That's when I also said that protein drink comes in place whenever you don't have time to eat. You're not supposed to be drinking those things every day. You drink it whenever you don't have time. It gives you space. It gives your body nutrient while you're moving around. I tell people, if you're not a breakfast person, be a snack person in the morning. So grab whatever snack that you want to have and do that. If you're not a person that eats lunch, so go get a snack lunch. As long as you give the body a little bit of something instead of let it go fully down, except if you're intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is a whole nother level. It's great. It's great if you want to, if you love it and I don't like eating breakfast kind of person, I'm like, great, do it. 15, 16 hours, fine. As long as you eat enough throughout the day. That's all that matters to me. Okay. So whenever you're busy, make your meal a snack. You don't have to have a full meal. You can have like some hummus and some your protein chips. You can eat that and be done and just move about your day. All right. And then lastly, the question, what role do vitamins and minerals like iron and magnesium plays in fatigue conversation? How can you tell if you are low? So vitamin B12, especially B12 and iron, those are energy level vitamins. So if you are somebody that's fatigued, if it's not iron, it's probably vitamin B12. So the good thing about those, especially the vitamin B12, if you take too much of it, you get to pee it out. So the body doesn't really keep that on there. So the important thing is fatigue level. Women, we're already tired. We're already drained. So whenever we have nutrients that are not being replaced, especially if you don't eat some of these vegetables, if you don't eat vegetables and fruit, I think it's much more easier for you to get your nutrients through supplementation. Okay, if you're somebody, especially if you're getting started, you're like, I don't really like fruit. I'll say get some multivitamins and start it there. And then if things start changing, then you go really closer in and start being targeted into your nutrients. So B12, you start feeling fatigue, you fall asleep all the time, you require a nap. Also irons, you get brittle nails. Your nails get brittle and fall off very quickly. Your fingers and your hands get very cold. You are always tired. Even when you drink coffee, it's only like a short burst of energy and then you're tired again. But iron as well, you need to get it checked so that we don't have iron toxicity. Okay, it's not something that you should be taking out of a whim. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, there's another one. How do you recommend hydration impact energy and focus? And what is your to-go way to stay hydrated? Just plain water? No. So hydration, especially during the heat, and especially if you're pregnant or if you're somebody that is an athlete and is somebody that you're older. So older we get, we do not want to go pee because we're tired of getting pee all the time. And so what I recommend is I say start with fruits. I love watermelon. I start hydrating watermelon. So I eat watermelon or I eat an apple or I eat like a cucumber. I start having those foods be more part of my lifestyle if I am not somebody that likes to drink water. And the next thing is electrolyte packets. I recommend those things. One packet for the day. It helps the body stay hydrated. It helps the body absorb the water better and it makes you more hydrated. So one packet of electrolytes and then just drink water if you can, or just eat your fruits. The more fruit you eat, the more hydrated you are. That's what I would say about hydration. So plain water, you don't have to do it. And then put those flavor water thing on there if you like those. Just watch the artificial sweetener. If you want something, get the real deal of like the sugar stuff. It's way better for you anyway. Except it gets addictive. But anyway, if anyone watching today wanted to make just one simple nutrition change this week to support their energy, what would you recommend? I will say sleep. I will say if you can get your sleep together, you will actually notice that you lose weight because the body will not be making as much cortisol. Cortisol is that stress hormone that makes you just gain weight on your belly. And I don't believe that we get adequate sleep in America. I feel like we are on 24 hours run and we don't know how to shut down our brain. And then we are married to our phone, which goes to bed with us. And so I say if there's a way you can start saying, you know what, 30 minutes, 15 minutes before I go to bed, I don't have my phone in my hand. And I might just eat myself a watermelon or a piece of fruit and then stay hydrated and go to bed. That's the number one thing I will say. And then the next thing is protein in your diet. Start with protein in your diet to help regulate your blood sugar. If you are somebody that said, oh, I don't like protein drink, get a couple of boiled eggs, a cheese sticks, and you're good. Okay, just for that's a starting point. All right, so those are the two things I'll recommend. Get your good sleep and start adding protein to your diet. But watch that carbohydrate though. You don't want to do the same protein and carbohydrate together. You're going to gain weight. So minimize the starches and then get the vegetables and fruit and the protein and get some sleep. That'll be like the best thing that I say you can do to get started. Oh, and lift weights. Please do. Please get stronger. Make your bones stronger. Make your body elasticity because it's so good for the body and the heart. Because when estrogen start going down, the body starts depleting. It's not utilizing the muscle mass. So we need to get stronger. And women getting stronger does not mean you're going to beef up and look like. It takes decades for you to do that, and some steroids would help too. You know. So that's my recommendation for that. So please lift weights, drink water, and go to sleep. All right. Any other questions? Nope. All right. It was fabulous talking to you, ladies.
Question. So what is the QR code and what do we get to do with it? And if we want to reach you, how do we do it?
Oh, that's where it is. My QR code, my website, and also my website. The link is also down there. And you can meet me. I am on Facebook. My name is right there, Hulai Matuba, or I'm on Instagram, Hulai Matuba. And if you want to come and see me, I take insurance. I will first of all go check to see if you're covered. And if you're covered, then I'll let you know before I start seeing you because I don't charge people without letting them know clarity first. So that's where you find me.
Wow, I think I want some water now.
Yeah, go
Some
eat some
electrolytes.
watermelon or pineapple. It's like, I love the taste of fruit. So it's very helpful.
Okay, last call. Did anybody have any questions? I know she's super busy today, as she always is whenever I talk to her. So, but if anybody has any questions, y'all make sure you raise your hand or unmute. If not, then we will go ahead and stop this. If you are attending this um, meeting, just know that I will share to this recorded live. So for you all who came, you get a copy of it. Hulai also, she gets a copy of it. She gets to share this with all her magnificent clients. So did anybody else have any other questions? And if you want to connect with her on a professional level, Hulai, what's the best way for professionals who want to connect with you?
So professionals. Oh, you can also reach me on when you go to my website, just put contacts. My phone number also, I can also text on my phone number. That is on my business phone number. So you can reach me there if you want to connect professionally and collaborate. I love collaboration, makes me learn. I'm like, just like I'm doing here. Connie's amazing.
She's a really good collaborator, and she'll ask you questions about your business, which is super great because it helps her to apply that to the information she provides to her clients, so they're
Yes.
well-rounded in knowing before they even meet you what they're getting. So,
Yes. I'm always looking forward to refer my clients to amazing people. So
all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop the recording there.